Next up, we have Wrath of the Gods Terraria mod, theme of Nameless Deity, plus lyrics from Terraria Wrath of the Gods mod. Once again, everybody, this is a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. I'm a professionally trained musician, a composer, and my objective here is to explain things in a way that you don't have to be one to understand what is happening here musically. So if you're watching this on the YouTube channel, the YouTube recording, and you like the sound of that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, turn on notifications. We just got monetized, so consider dropping one of the memberships to support the channel further. All that good stuff. Keep in mind, this is my first time listening to this track, so I will be pausing a lot because I will be pointing things out as I hear them. Also, this is recorded live on stream, so I might stumble upon my words. My left shoulder, as I've mentioned a couple of times when I was messed up, I went to the doctor, getting it treated, but still the pain might distract me here and there, so just keep that in mind, alright? So, without any further ado, let's do this. Theme of Nameless Deity. Let's go. Okay, so we're starting. I don't know if this is the start of the actual track or not, but I like that little bass. Yeah, it seems like this is how it plays. So here's the thing with this kind of stuff. Sometimes you can use part of the sound design for your track, and in many cases, many boss fights are coded to play in a certain way to the track, to the point that sometimes their sound design will be part of the track. Let's see if this was the actual start of the track, or if this is just how it plays on the game. Let's see. Oh, there you go. Okay, so that was the introduction. Very nice jump scare over there, and now we got the Nameless Deity. There you go. Now we have, so that was a cool intro. Kept putting a little bit of space, giving you that sound of like slicing through dimension. Very nice, but it did have a little bit of bass there, which is what made me think, is this the actual start of the track? But we start. Let me hear this again. Let me hear this again. Okay, so we start with a few things going on. Number one, we have, of course, the drum track keeping the good old beat. Then we have a synth holding what sounds like a flying melody, but it's more like the chords. And then we have a set of strings. It sounds like it's all virtual instruments, but it's still strings doing accents with the rhythm. And it sounds like we are dealing with odd time signatures. When it comes to time signatures, we can have odd time signatures. Odd time signatures means that these aren't exactly what follow the conventions of Western music. Because there's one thing that you need to know about music. When it comes to music, it's a very subjective, free-form kind of thing. And many things that people call rules, we most likely will call common practices. So sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, depends on what it is. So when it comes to time signatures in the West, we call odd time signatures this way because it's not what is standard. When it comes to the West, our time signatures are going to be overwhelmingly 4/4, maybe 3/4, maybe 6/8. But let's just go through the concept of time signatures real quick. Upper number, the number of notes in a measure. Lower number, the type of note that you're going to get per measure. So in English, super easy to remember. Whole notes equals 1, half notes equals 2, quarter notes equals 4, eighth notes is 8, so on and so forth. So a 4/4 bar is going to be 4 quarter notes in a single bar or measure. Bar, measure, they're interchangeable terms. Well, now, when it comes to odd time signatures, with the exception of 3, in terms of 3 over 4, 3 over 2, 3 over 1, not 3 over 8. 3 over 8 is considered an odd time signature. Those are more 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 1 are considered to be like more danceable measures. So it's that. One of the purposes, the main purpose of a time signature, however, is communication. A time signature is there to communicate with your musicians how the song is structured or how the piece is structured. So you can have people coming up with extremely complicated setups for odd time signatures that turns out to be just a bunch of 4/4 bars stretched out, and they just did the math wrong kind of thing, right? So as a composer, if you're looking at this as a composer and you're going to bring more people in and you're going to try to get live musicians in, you want to make things as easy to read and as easy to do as possible. So where does odd time signatures comes in? Those are difficult to do. Those are difficult to do because it's mainly on how you count your time signatures. Because 4/4, you're just going to count in 4. You're going to be counting the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That kind of stuff. But once we get into eighth notes, you start dealing in subdivisions. A subdivision is, instead of counting the overall numbers, for example, in an odd time signature such as 5/8, you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or you can put accents on it and do subdivisions and decide, okay, we're going to do a group of 2 and a group of 3. So instead of it going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and driving yourself insane, you can structure this by 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And that start here, those accents, those are your downbeats. And when it comes to time signatures, you can really mess around with this. So the difference, again, between a bar in 8 and a bar in 4 is how you count them. Because at the end of the day, as I said, 4, you will count the quarter notes. In 8, you will count the subdivisions. So the difference between something like, say, a 2 bars of 5/8, so 2 bars of 5/8 versus 1 bar of 5/4, which both contain the same amount of notes, is how you count them. Because in 5/4, you're going to be counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But in 5/8, we can do the subdivisions and we can flip them, right? So we could do 3 plus 2 and then 2 plus 3. And it will contain the same amount of notes, but it's going to be as the 1 bar of 5/4, but it is going to feel very different because it's very different from me going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, over me going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. It's a completely different feeling. So that's what I mean when I say that it's about communication, because then you are communicating with the player a lot of these things, especially when it comes to larger ensembles. Let's say you're in an orchestra. You can't go in and give every single little explanation to every musician. You're going to spend hours doing that. So the best way of communicating is by making things as simple as possible. Now, what is happening here in the track, we are having something like probably something like in 13 or 15, but what we are doing is we are having accents. Like, it all ties back together. Just let me weave, right? So we have accents over here. So let's say that we are in something like, let's not make it too complicated for the sake of illustration. Let's say this is in 7/8. So we have the main synth doing the overall, just holding the chords and changing them once per bar. So in terms of the chord being held, yeah, welcome today. We are doing just one chord on the downbeat and holding that on with the main synths. However, the violins are going to be doing those subdivisions, and that is what is giving this really cool sense of two things going on at the same time. We have the chords being held high up with one synth, and then we are having the violins or the strings, whatever this is. Let's say we're doing 2, 2, and 3, right? Let's say we're doing 2, 2, and 3 as our subdivisions in the violins. So the violins are going to be accentuating each downbeat. So instead of going 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3, they're gonna be going 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 1 2 3, and it's going to give it that sense of just stingers and going on. Then we have the drum beat keeping up the rest of the stuff. All right, let's see where this goes, though. Let's see where this goes. So yeah, now we're having these loops. And interestingly enough, we are having the violins. These violins give us the motif, even though this motif is in such odd time signatures. That is where we're seeing the overall shape. So that synth, these strings are giving us our motif. The motif being the smallest version of our musical idea, and we extrapolate that. So this could be the main motif. This could be an elongated version of the motif. Elongation means that you're making it longer, right? And in this case, the motif, the melody being played in the main synth, is pretty long. So let's see where this is taken, because this could just be the accompaniment. Let's see. This was looking the same, yeah. S8 Raw, welcome today. Thank you for the follow, welcome to Mosh Pit. Okay, there we go. So let me, I missed that. Okay, so yeah, we had another synth come in and giving us a more defined version of this motif. I think it might have been the same thing, or it could be that the accompaniment is doing something different. But now we have our motif in a synth that is kind of in the middle. It's made by two separate climatic composers. Nice, nice, nice. Let's see. Bobby, welcome today. Yep, there you go. So we are having the motif now. Yeah, it's the same line. It's overall the same line that we heard with those chords. It's now just going a little bit faster than it was at the start with the accompaniment. And this is a good way of doing that. Oh yeah, no Spotify links, only YouTube. And this is a really creative way of doing things when you introduce a long version of the motif. And again, it comes to the whole concept of when you're making music, you want to keep there's a very delicate balance to be had between giving new material to the listener and keeping the listener in a familiar place. And considering that this is, by all intents and purposes, exotic in the Western world with the odd time signatures, you don't want to do everything all at once right away, right? So by starting the piece with that initial just drums and the rhythm, giving that intro, pretty smart choice, because then you can slowly introduce things. One, it fills up more time more easily, so that's always a good thing. And two, it goes like that. And oh yeah, because there's no way to see that until I flip the screen. But yeah, let's continue. The bodice is special. On, we have lyrics. Right, it's a song. And he's singing the motif. And he's singing the same motif that we had with the with that initial synth that we had going on in the middle. So yeah, this goes from being a piece or a track to being a song. So the difference between a piece, a track, and a song, so piece/track versus song, the difference is songs have lyrics. That's about it. Because when it comes to form or structure, pieces and tracks will be divided into like sections, A, B, C, so on and so forth. And songs will have stuff like intros, verses, chorus, that kind of thing. It's a little bit more modernized terminology. So, Sanaori, welcome today. How you doing? So yeah, we have those that difference over there. So now we are dealing with a song. I like that we are using the motif. So, but about background choirs, those are a little bit more tricky. Because we have, say, Beethoven, who's, I think it's I don't remember which symphony. I think it's the Ninth Symphony that he put a chorus with lyrics, but that is still a symphony. That is still a piece of music. So the lyrics for a song need to be the focus of the song, and they need to be the main thing that happens. So having a chorus, having them be part of the overall vibe and sound of the orchestra, that doesn't fully count in that sense, even though it should. They are not playing the function of going through text, because one of the things about songs, and thank you for pointing that out and doing this, one of the main purposes of a song is to move through text. You have a piece of text that you want to go through. That is what you do. Because some of the earlier songs were made using existing poems. So the purpose of the song would be to read out the poem in a way that it would be musical. However, if you have something like a Beethoven Ode to Joy, that the lyrics there are not made for the purposes of singing the lyrics. The lyrics are put there to be part of the overall composition. So it's a tricky, very little sense. It doesn't really make too much sense, but then again, that is music. There are some things that simply make very little or no sense, but that's just how they work. So, yeah, there you go. Let's continue. So yeah, we have the verse. And one more thing, right? When it comes to verse versus chorus, because most songs will have verses, will have choruses. The main difference will be that a verse will go through more lyrics than a chorus. Usually a chorus will have some sort of melodic focus, will have less lyrics to allow for melodic focuses. It's usually differentiated between syllabic and melismatic singing. Syllabic singing means there is one note per syllable. I am singing right now in syllabic form. Every time I hit a note, I was singing a single syllable. However, melismatic singing, I think that's the term, is when you have more than one note for singing. And this includes when you sing oohs and ahs. So, it's like singing, whoa, oh, oh, oh. That counts as melismatic. And that's usually what you're going to see in most choruses, and usually in verses you're going to see a more syllabic approach to the music, that the text that you're going through, because the point of the verse is to go through as much text as you can, and then the purpose of the chorus is to actually explore the music. It's tricky because it sounds so reductive that way, because it's not what it really is, because at the end of the day, it's all about making music, but the point of the verse is to get you from point A to point B, and point B is the point of the chorus. Let's see where this goes. So yeah, now we're going through the verse. And this is a good thing that they're doing over here. It's a nice and creative. Approach to this, because some people simply repeat the verse. I've done that. I'm guilty of that, of just repeating the verse exactly the same. But what they are doing now, Lonsig, welcome today. How you doing? What we're doing now is we are adding extra layers of music with each repetition, doing once again that very careful balance of familiarity versus new material. And they're doing it really, really well over here, because considering how at the end of the day it's a somewhat straightforward repetition of the rhythm, we are building around that, because the rhythm has been pretty much the same from the very, very start, but the way we are building everything around makes us not care. By the way, what is happening with the drums and the synths and everything is called an ostinato. An ostinato just means you are repeating the same thing over and over and over and over and over again until the composer says stop. So I'm playing not the lyrics. I'm horrible with lyrics. I can't read. Let's see where this goes. Oh, that was really cool. So, what we just had was a colloquial term of mine. By the way, colloquial just means there's no official academic term, or I'm choosing not to use it for the purposes of explaining what is happening. Well, I like to call here the going off the ramp. If you want to create a moment of suspense, feeling like you're suspended off in the air, see where you're gonna land, take away the drums, take away the bass, and that's it. And that's it. You use these types of voices too? A little bit, yeah. Yeah, these are distorted. So yeah, these voices are heavily distorted with software, so these are not actual growls. These are, you know, I am sounding rude from people that don't know how to growl or are backing out from growling, and then they turn on a distortion. It's valid. It sounds cool. I have nothing against using filters. So I have no clue, Yarg. I have no clue. I have no clue. So yeah, it's really cool. Because yeah, it sounds like they put what would be a guitar distortion pedal on a vocal line, which is a fairly unusual thing to do. Yeah, I had not heard any of them. Yeah, I had no, so I have no idea. So yeah, no, it sounds like they took what would be a sound effect for a guitar, and they put it through a vocal line instead. Will, welcome. Oh, Will B, welcome today. How you doing? So, oh, which name sounds cooler? Iron Horse. Yeah. So yeah, we have that. We have that now. This is very unusual. I usually don't see people doing this because it's a very big risk, especially considering that distortion can overdo. You can overdo distortion very easily and make it nearly impossible to understand what is happening. It's one of the risks of metal that metal has, right? With guitars, when you distort them a little too much, it becomes nearly impossible to understand what is happening. They have struck a good balance here because I can still hear what's going on and everything. It's cool. Yeah. Wrath of the Gods Terraria mod, it seems. And back we go to another verse, it seems. No, so now we have entered the chorus. Yep, there you go. So now you see how the focus is a little bit more on melody. The melody is different, first off. And we are having this back and forth between the two styles of vocals. And usually, this is very common, especially if you want to deal with more than one character in a song. Give different tones of voice to the different characters. And that's it. It's super easy. It's such a simple concept, but many people miss out on that. Yeah, you can have the deity be this. It sounds like the deity is the distorted voice, and then you have the player be the other one. So it sounds a bit more human, the player, and the other one sounds more extraterrestrial, more alien, more unnatural kind of thing. I'll answer that. Remind me to answer that valid user after the video. So let's see. So yeah, now we're having a slight variation in the rhythm as well. I like this. I like that call and response. By the way, call and response. One musical line does one thing, the other one answers immediately, which is the back and forth we were having between the vocal lines. So I almost punched my stream deck. All right, let's continue. Okay, looks like we're doing a post-chorus / bridge over here. Man, this is interesting because now we went from the strings doing those things like those stingers. And it's okay, we can just change it afterwards. We go from those stingers where the accents were being done on that time signature to just going straight forward. I don't think that command exists on Buttricks, yeah. So it just goes straight on straight eighth notes, giving us a very weird sense of this is still an odd time signatures, but because these strings are now stinging on an regular time signature, not in a non-odd time signature, it gives us that sense of instability even further. It's insane. Let's see. And I think the motif being played right now on one of the strings is a variation. I think it's a reduced version of the motif, I think. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it is a reduced version. Let's see. Oh, once again, another moment of going off the ramp. That was a really cool way of dropping the beat. So yeah, we had a reduced motif there. When it comes to motifs, you can do reductions, you can do elongations. At the very, very start of the track, we had these synths going very long with the chords. That was an elongated version. They are longer, it's proportionately longer, and it's just a way to make the motif last longer. A reduction is the opposite of that, it's faster. So, is there a word called colloquially? Is there colloquialism? I guess? I don't know, but we can colloquially say that. Let's see. I like the retro vibes of some of these synths. Let's see. This is very interesting. This was very interesting because we are having this very cool mix. So what we are seeing right now is the use of a polyrhythm. Polyrhythm means more than one rhythm. And we are doing this in a very clever way. We went earlier through the whole point of the measures, right? But when it comes to a polyrhythm, you will have imaginary rhythms happening at the same time. So you take the common denominator of these and you just spread them out, because we are having a very straightforward 4/4 measure with the violins and the synth carrying the melody. It's a very straightforward 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 that we're having, but at the same time the drums are still doing that very odd time signature drum beat that we were having. It's happening at such a fast pace that it is a bit difficult to understand, to fully perceive this in the way that other polyrhythms would, right? Because the most famous polyrhythm that there is 3 against 2, where you have one hand, so to speak, doing threes, so 1 2 3 1 2 3, and the other one you have doing twos on the same amount of space. 1 2 1 2. You play them together. 1. So they all interweave that way, and that is the simplest polyrhythm that there is, and you can go absolutely insane with these types of polyrhythms because it doesn't have to be that straightforward of a polyrhythm. You could have something fairly complex on a 4/4 measure that still sounds 4/4, and then have an imaginary line of a friggin', I don't know, something like a 7/8 going then with a 5/8, then going for another 7/8, followed by a I don't know, a 3/8, something like that, and you just repeat these enough times. You repeat the 4/4 and this combination of bars enough time that eventually they all loop to start on the same point again. And that is what is happening here right now. We are having this very cool use of polyrhythm where one layer is doing many different rhythms, a lot of rhythmic changes, and the other one isn't. And we're just waiting for these. And you can do these in such a complicated way. Because I've seen this. The man who popularized Polyrhythms this way was Igor Stravinsky. If you ever want to see the OG, just listen to some of Stravinsky's stuff. We're talking Rite of Spring, Petrushka, maybe Firebird. Some of his like ballets, a lot of his pieces just had a bunch of these insanely complicated rhythms. He called it planned improvisation, where his instruments sound like they're improvised, but when you look at the sheet music, it is all written there. It's written to sound like the musicians are improvising. It's insane the amount of detail that Stravinsky would put into his music, and a good chunk of his music was polyrhythms. Polyrhythms, polyharmonies, just the concept of layering things that shouldn't match together. And in this case, we are layering things that shouldn't match together. Let's continue. Let's see where this goes. Love music teacher. Oh, I would not want to be a music teacher again. I'm not good at being a music teacher. All right. Now we're giving a moment to the second vocals. Ooh, I like this. So we're doing this bridge, like we did a bit of a solo. Now we're doing this bridge where we're taking the concepts, because first it was the clean vocals, the human against the god. And the human was posing something and the god was responding. Now the god is saying and the human is responding. So we flipped the we flipped the script. And back we go. Oh, this is pretty metal, yeah. This is pretty metal, yeah. Nice. So yeah, this is fairly new material, but we are keeping that same drum track. That drum loop has yet to change significantly, and that has kept us pretty well grounded. Let's see how this ends. Because we are this is the climax. Off the round. Ooh. So now for the climax, there are several ways that you can do a climax. And now what we did is, instead of having the different vocal lines sing one at a time, just sing together. That's it. That's it. That's our climax over here. It's very nice. Ooh. And there you go. So yeah, we went off the ramp, okay, let's see. Oh, we got an outro. We got an outro here? Okay, you scared me there for a second. I thought it was gonna be a fade out, but no. There you go. So that was a fairly short climax. Yeah, that was a fairly short climax, so I'd rather my climax than that was, but it still worked. It sounded like the track, I don't know, it felt a little bit rushed, that ending. I would have let it play a little bit longer, but it still worked. We did the whole going off the ramp thing, we removed the drums, and we just let that synth go on a little bit more. But yeah, it sounded like, you know, we brought the fight to an end and everything. We brought in that last piano bit. Scared the shit out of me, because for a second I thought it was a fade out, but no, it was just going lower in volume, playing softer, but in the end it actually played one last chord. So there you go. A diabolical piece like this would never have a fade out. Yep. And it was really good. It was really good. There you go. That was theme of Nameless Deity from the Wrath of the Gods Terraria mod. This was pretty good. That was pretty good. I have no idea what the lyrics were, because I don't pay attention to that, but that was, like, musically, that was pretty well done. Once again, everybody, this has been a Basterd's LFA, a layman-friendly analysis. If you're watching this on the video archive, thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, consider becoming a member, joining the paid subscriptions, because we just got monetized. Give me money. There's no obligation at all. If you want to request a song and you're not watching this on the live stream, go to the Discord, link down below. Go to the LFA request channel, read the pin message for all the instructions. Basically, leave the YouTube link of the song that you want and what video game that is from. And that is that. If you want to watch these videos live, the links to the Discord and the Twitch are available in the description down below. Showing the streams on your local time zone. And what else? What am I missing? I think with that we're good. Thank you for watching. I think that's it for this video. So let's call it. There we go. Theme of Nameless Deity, Wrath of the Gods. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. But